Lewis, Emma, Grant, Molly, Mikey, Kermit, thanks for letting me be up here. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Diana, and I have known Susan Jean Wenkstern Gidley, since I moved down the street from her in 5th grade. We lived in a neighborhood of one-story homes in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, just south of Pier 66. I moved down the block, and for most of our teenage lives, we had this ritual of getting together. We called it meeting halfway. Now, we would each walk from our respective homes. We would walk down the sidewalk, and we would greet each other, but for years, we would argue over what exactly was the halfway point. Was it this line or that line? And we never resolved that in all the years. I want to share with you a few things about Sue. There's some in this crowd that will be receptive to what I'm going to show you. Some will think I'm a little crazy, but that's what I want to share with you about Sue. So I begin with this. Oh good, some of you know this. That is the sign for Sweeney. And it can be a big arm move like this. Or it can be a little like this, or it can just be a little like this. You're wondering what Sweeney is, and I wish I could define it for you, but it's not in the dictionary. It's a word that kind of defines what somebody else does. It's like one of those embarrassing things that your mom would do. Kind of dorky, it's just what Sweeney is. And you would know Sweeney when you saw it or heard it. And all through elementary school, high school, and even into our mothering years, we practiced the Sweeney sign. There were also Sue's water moves. If you ever swam with Sue, which we did a lot growing up in Fort Lauderdale, you would know her famous water moves, the best of which was her rendition of the crab, where she would go fully underwater. I'll demonstrate a little bit here. Oh. She would pop up like that, with eyes wide open, and do this, and then she would go aside. That is the crab. We would all break out laughing wherever we were, whether it was in high school or in our later years, and I have no doubt that she probably pulled the crab on her water aerobics classes. Yes. And then there were Sue's dance moves. I'm not going to show those. But I can tell you, she could move those hips, baby. And let's just say, before there was twerking, Sue was doing it. Of course, if you knew Sue, no doubt you had a nickname. Mine was Di-Di, is Di-Di, will always be Di-Di. Here's how it came about. In middle school, in Spanish class, George Stevens turned to me one day and said, "Why don't you just die?" Now, as an adolescent at the time, that could have thrown me into deep therapy and depression. But Sue was there and she heard it. And she turned it into my nickname, Di-Di. There's Leech Keg, there's Smelly Belly, or Shelly Belly, there's Oglethorpe, there's BT-28, there's Cassandra Man, there's Owl Pal, there's Scruffles, and many, many more on the list. She would even nickname inanimate objects. And one of my favorites was the Moan Tree. When we were in 6th grade, Sue found a pack of cigarettes. Now this was a pretty pristine pack of cigarettes. It wasn't squashed or anything. So she said, we should go smoke one. Now we didn't know where to do this without getting caught. So we climbed up into a tree in the neighborhood. Mike and Kirby may not know about this. But Mike's shaking his head. We climbed up into that tree with our precious but illicit package of cigarettes. Now I was inclined to take a puff. But Sue said, no, we're just going to hold them. So we let them, and we just held them, and we flipped them. Kind of acted cool, holding our cigarettes. We learned that it takes a really long time for a cigarette to burn if you don't inhale it. So we were up in that tree for a long time. That tree became the Moan Tree, for the smoking tree. Now there's an addendum to this story, because when we finished with our flicking, we still had a pretty full pack of cigarettes. And Sue convinced me that I should be the one to take the cigarettes home, which I did because she told me to. And so I put the cigarettes in a dresser drawer, and within 24 hours, my mom found them. And she pulls me into my room, opens the drawer, pulls out the cigarettes and goes, "What are these?" And I go, "They're Sue's." She didn't say a single word. She just said, "Oh, okay." She was Sue. We all knew Sue. Sue was a special person. She was good to the soul. She was kind in her heart. And she was the friend your mom wanted you to have. Years after we all graduated from Stranahan High School and moved, she was the catalyst for a gathering of friends that continues to this very day. On our 20th high school reunion, a group of 12 of us sat in her living room in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. The same green shag carpet that we had all grown up with was still there, along with the golden yellow Formica countertops in her home. These were visual images of our youthful 70s, all still right there. We talked, we laughed, we talked about all of our nicknames, and we resurrected a bond that continues to this very day. And I am so proud to say that from our girls' reunion, 9 of us are here on this day to celebrate Sue. There's an expression I once heard, and it's called being a last lifer. I tried to look it up on Google and couldn't find very much about it. The expression is based on Buddhism, and the idea is of reincarnation, and at each time we come back, we try to be a better person, and we are given multiple chances over time to work our way up that life ladder, until we have become a good enough person to move on to the world, to another world, to the afterlife. When you've reached that last rung on the ladder, you are a last lifer. In a lifetime, you may know only one last lifer. Sue's one. She has left this world. I know she's up in heaven, and no doubt she's with the angels, and she's given all of them a nickname. And showing them her dance on her water waves as well. I say this, I love you, my Susie Q, my Susan G, my Wanky Wank, my bestest, my truest gal pal. A true last lifer, if there ever was one.